Hello everyone, this is Rashal at the channel. So in the next topic, we are going to see very important one, like writing a simple effective test plan. So in the new era, we don't need to write a content in too much, but we need a test plan before going to test anything. Okay. So let's start with the simple one. Okay. So what is test plan basically? So if you see the old culture, we have it as a test scope, test objective, assumptions, risk analysis, test design, roles and responsibilities, scheduling, test management, test environment, communication, and testing tools. All are this added this component, right? This is called test plan. Okay. So we'll see one by one what is that as deeply, and we'll start it. Okay. As a test plan document describes the scope of testing. What is scope of testing? Suppose when you are testing one application, so in that sprint, so you should have only the certain scopes. You don't need to, suppose you are testing a payment app means, so you should want to see the payment is working or not. That's the only thing. Does not mean if you are using a Google Pay, the Google Pay is working, or that's not our problem. Our API should properly send the information and receive information. That's the scope. Testing the Google Pay is out of scope. So you want to understand the scope of testing. Next, what approach going to be? What that means, what are the testing you're going to done? Like you're going to do the integration, functional, or any like white box or black box testing. So that approach you want to be. Next, resource required. What is the resource here? The employees. So how many testers, manual testers needed? How many automation testers required? How many one who going to lead, who going to do everything, like scheduling testing activities. Okay, what is scheduling activities? It is a point of like when going to start, when is the testing is started, when is ending, when we're going to close it. So this schedule should have already pre-planned. Okay. Next one is deliverables. What are deliverables? Deliverable means once you done the testing, what are the things you will provide? You will provide your test scenarios, what you have created. You provide your, like nowadays we are using Lambda test for automation or roll stack. In local we using test Jira. So we need to provide all the information as a test deliverables as outcomes, like how what's the matrix, uh, it is going to release or not. Those things deliverables. Okay. And this the blueprint. Okay. So this one, before going to test anything, when you're seeing this test plan itself, this is your blueprint. From this blueprint only you're going to build a home. The same way, using this only you're going to test it. Okay. And designing the test case, everything included. Okay. And this was like basically, so like we have a stakeholders. What is, who are stakeholders? Your managers, your business owners, your client, all the peoples are over the leaderships, so we call them stakeholders. Okay. And they want to know what is your testing objectives, what is the expectations. Okay. So next, we know now what is placement. Okay. So first of all, why we create a test plan? That's the reason, right? So why we are, I said like in previous class, like in starters, we don't do any plan. We directly jump on testing. Then what is the use of test plan? Uh, when you are in a startup company, you don't need to this kind of stuff much. But when you are in well structured organization, or your company is migrating from startup to next level means, that time you should, the company will structureize. The same way in testing, you want to structure the process. How to do that? Using test plan. Okay. So this test plan provides structure and directions. Okay. This, even anyone newly coming, or even the one person leave also, they will come and see this. Okay, this is the plan. This is the way that testing works. Okay, I will follow the same pattern. So otherwise, what will happen? Each one don't have any direction. They will like never do the properly. Okay. Next one is establish a clear objective and structure criteria. What is objective? So objective, what is the motto of testing? So I want to suppose this is the app. Our app should work like this way. So I want to make sure that is working that way. So and I want to test properly and with the quality. So that is the objective. What is success criteria? The success criteria, suppose there is a test case. Okay. So how many test cases? I'll like take an example. We have 300 test cases for the entire our test suite. So before going to release, how much thing is passed? Is there any P0 tickets available, or is there? We sorted out. There's no P0 issues or minor issues. How many issues is there? So this kind of, based upon this only, we will find like, okay, this is success criteria. If we meet the success criteria, then we go for the like production. If it is not, we need to keep on creating a bug and retesting. Okay. And identifies the necessary resources and timeline. What is necessary resource means? You should find the right resource. Suppose if you want to lead a person, you can put a fresher. You should have put someone else very well experienced, and you want a mid-level seniors. You want a freshers. All together as a team. Okay, so you want to identify the right resource and timeline. So in timeline, like timeline is very important, because Once the development is over, it next come to the testing team. So you should have the proper delivery, and because company have one vision, like I want to release on this month about this product. So this one, our QA is a very crucial, plays a crucial role on that one. Okay, and this helps the management stakeholder expectation. What like stakeholders want to satisfy with the quality. So when anyone happen in the production issues, take an example. That if you send the issue or application, that application not even allowing you to log in means how bad that is, right? So the expectation will be fulfilled once the product went to delivery. Your stakeholders get want to satisfied by the performance. Okay, and next one is search documentation of future reference. So what does this mean? Even 1 year you was after that, some you're changing something in your application, and so what you want to test means your documentation. So testing and is the documentation. Even if you work on the any life science company, that all your test cases go to audit. So what you tested in this operation. So everything is a documented. QA is the 30% documentation process. Okay, 70% is the real work. 30% of documentation. Documentation sense like your suppose tomorrow there is an issue coming in production means you want to show like see this test case I tested. This is the screenshot. That time it's worked fine. So you want to safety yourself means you should have a proper documentation. And next is reduce risk by ensuring comprehensive test coverage. What is risk? So risk is like you want to identify which are the complexity and high priority test cases, which are mid level, which are like low level. You want to give more attention to the high level, and mostly we call as a risk means what does risk mean? Employer issue, like suppose suddenly your employee will relieve, suppose your application didn't work they have expected, or some like climate changes happen like due to their company was leave for 3 to 4 days, so it's your timeline got delayed. So this kind of like we call it as a risk. Okay, and facilitates communication among the team. What is this means? If a team member is increasing more than 3 4 means to maintain a common repo is the toughest job in QA, because if you are testing one thing means your fellow mates also will test the same thing. It's why waste of time. So you want to divide properly means when you have proper planning, so obviously the team will assign it properly. Like you are going to do the cards page, you are going to handle the profile section, you are going to enter the order section, you are going to handle the payment section. So that has designed properly. They will write this like test cases, test properly. Okay, and next one is key common test plans. So as I told you earlier, what is the key? Like in the documentation, when you take a test plan documentation, what could be you can see means you can see test plan ID. Okay. Next, the scope of testing. So you want to clearly mention what your in scope and net scope, because tomorrow they can ask like why you in test means you want to mention see this we already provided the test plan. In that test plan this is out of scope, so we didn't cover in our testing. Okay, next one is test strategy and approach. What the strategy means, what kind of testing you are going to do. Okay, or what are the tools you're going to use, like suppose you are using Jira or test trial or any other tools, or if you're using automation means Selenium or Playwright, or which CI/CD we are using. Those all the things we call as we will think in the what approach we are going to do. Okay, this approach is the main thing, and it will differ based upon each project and each applications. There is never be a constant approach. Okay, next one is schedule and milestone. We should keep a very short milestones and schedule properly. Okay, so like when the design going to complete, when the execution going to complete, how much buffer period we need for retesting. Okay, next one is environment setup. This one is a kind of, suppose you want to test means you want to have everyone should have the systems, everyone should have the application, a browser is required in the system, network, all their have like essential credentials. Credentials means like username password. Suppose you want to test means you should have proper environments, right? And resource and responsibilities. So we want to identify whose resource and what is their responsibilities. The responsibilities always change according to the situations, but everyone will assign as a response, like TL, senior, junior, like fresher, like that, right? And test deliverables, what are the things you are going to provide after the release, and what is entry and exit criteria, when going to start the testing, when going to end the testing. This you should know properly. So when you're going to get the starting testing, when all the applications get ready for testing, all your test design are started, everything's completely get reviewed and approved, that is the entry criteria. Exit criteria is like all the test case has been run, all the test case has been passed, or there is no feature, only minor bug. These are the exit criteria we should design. Okay. And risk management, the risk management is very important. Like we need to define previously itself, like what are the risks could cause. Okay. So like the resource issues, or application issues, or natural issues. So all things are come under the risk management. And defect management, what is a defect management means, so when you cut a bug, how you going to handle that one, how are you going to report. So this is the defect management. Next one is test metrics and reporting. So metrics is more important. So when a bigger company, metrics, we will see only metrics. What's the metrics? Suppose take an example. How many test case you pass means, what is the total test case? How many divided by how many bugs you find it. So means that ratio will give like how percentage you got. Okay. And you in trace matrix only you can understand, okay, this test case, this requirement is covered in this place. So that kind of metrics, bug reporting, average bug reporting, average pass, this kind of the metrics you should follow. Okay. Next one is test case design strategy. In test case design, there are various ways, but we need to focus on only the black box. So why we telling black box means, white boxes comes under the developer team. So that as a QA team, we need to focus on the black box. So in this, while writing a test case, you want to be like open minded. So if there is a 10 checkbox means, you cannot test anything. If there is an input box means, you cannot test all the inputs values. So you should have some things like you want to implement equivalent partition, you should handle the boundary analysis, you should do decision tree. Like if there is a S1 means the tree, S1 of test case, no on test case, and test transition, like from here what is going to next, this from this page what going to do. So this is another specification based. Structure based means like which statement, which branch is going, the path of testing. Like this is, I like take an example. This is the new user, existing user. This is the path it goes. The new user will go experience like this. And experience based. What experience means how the user is going to interact, like how look and feel. Okay. So this and all of that, by writing a test case, we want to design it. Okay. And specification based testing. What is specification based testing means, when you have certain specifications. Okay. Take an example. It is a age, or the eligibility of age is, take an example, it comes under 18 to 60 in a bank application mean. So you cannot test all the numbers and between the 18 to 60, we cannot do, it will take a month to complete. But how we can do it properly means, we can use boundary analysis, equivalent partitions, like taking a 70 and 90, and as well as 59 and 61, like pass fail pass fail. So this kind of combination would use like more, it will reduce the test case and it increase the coverage, you understand. Now reducing the test case means not cutting, taking a smarter way to identify the best options. Okay. And next one is structure based one. Structure based one is like how you are going to execute, like true or false. Like this is I'm going, okay, after that I'm going to this way one way, this is another way. So this is a path. So data flow is like, before going to write a test case, you can write a flowchart kind of. Okay. So my application is, this is the design. So in this I can have this flow, I can have this flow, like I can go to this flow. So that kind of different ways we can write test cases. Okay. Next next one is the experience based one. Nowadays we have exploratory test. I always tells exploratory testing. If anyone asking how you faster, the interview question will come, how you can fastly test, which approach you can tell means exploratory testing. Because exploratory testing never follow any structured test cases. It randomly it goes, you can randomly click anything and go to the applications to access. But there is no structured way. You can click anywhere, any product, any checkout, increasing, decreasing, payment fail, pass, like all the things exploratory testing. So that is the best answer for interview is exploratory testing. Okay. Next one is, what is the modern way? So still now we are test plan is in the going older way. So what is a modern test planning approach is going right now is, so simply iterative. Agile is, you know, it iterative. In iterative, test plan, daily scrum, test agility, release, and impact assessments. So impact assessment is a retrospective, we always call. So initially we have short span of test plan. Test plans would be very scheduled, very less. Okay, like testing schedule, process expected. So this can't change. You understand? This test plan is can't change much. It's a very minimal, like what is the testing schedule, what is the process we are going to follow, what is outcome. That's it. Okay. In Agile, daily scrum, you are going to see what you done daily. Test agility is we can review with the stakeholders regularly, because after the daily scream only you want to approve your scenarios, your test cases, your bugs you want to read. And release readiness, what is readiness? If it is good for release or it is blocker means we can revert back, we can say to developer to revert the changes because it's not good to release. Okay. And impact analysis, what is impact analysis? After the release, if anything like a postmortem, so we want to do the postmortem and identify that we take as a knowledge to the next testing cycle, like what are the things we missed last time, how could we solve it in the upcoming release. Okay. Execution practice, so what is the best execution? Because there are so many things is there, we are writing test cases, we are putting test plan, none of the things wouldn't matter if you not do test execution properly. Okay. If you fail in test execution, even though you put a best plan in the world, best test case in the world, if you didn't do the execution, that is like making a biryani, so you could not prepare all the all the ingredients very well. If you didn't cook very well means it's a waste of time, right? The same way execution is the real cooking. Okay. So you want to have best test environment setup. Okay. You should have like test data very well, don't keep on a dummy data as testing, that alone is not enough. You want to think lot when we're creating a test data, like as I told earlier, brown driven analysis or other options, you can create a test data very smartly. And defect logging, when you log a defect you want to clearly mention which flow I tried, it is worked. If it is working, not working in the stage environment or queue environment, it is working properly in the prod. So you want to compare, okay, it is working in prod properly, only it is not working in the QA or a stage environment. So that defect you want to very clear. And you can nowadays we want to provide the API response we got, even though we are doing in a UI level, we can see what responses we are sending in the console and the like in the backend code. Okay. And test case design, like while creating a following a test case on line by line should be clear. Okay. You cannot logical, you should very accurate while testing. Okay. So one of my friend told, like when I'm starting a first test case, I asked like what is the best approach for test execution means, you want to sleep properly before the night and eat properly and come and read the instruction in the test case, do it exactly as I say in the execution. Okay. Then only you will have more attentions. You cannot see somewhere and clicking something, it never be a best practices. Okay. And metrics collection, so you want to catalog all the metrics, like how many test case get passed, which test cases failed, how many bugs we raised in that bug, what is p0, p1, p2. Okay. And status reporting, like everyone, like in a bigger team, the what is the biggest lag is status update. Nowadays we have Jira, so in the Jira we need to properly update. Okay. And business visualization, nowadays the dashboards came in the Jira and like it will show us like overall a report, like how many pass, how many fail, how many bug we raised. Okay. Which is happening in the QA, which is on the prod, how many customer issues we faced, how the product issues, and how much support we provided for the customer in support emails. Okay. And sample test plans, so this is a example like the test plan. So how set up preparation, test case development, like a timeline. So this is on the June we start kick off, and in next 1 or 3 days we have a requirement analysis, validation, and database data improval, coding, system testing, stabilizing. Like here which part we are going to come, the system testing part. So this is the entire company software development plan. In that plan where we are, okay, when the testing execution started, the same time when the requirement started in the developer way, we need a testing team also should start the same thing. So when they are coding, we need to start the test case design. When they are when they are relieved to QA, that time we don't start testing. So we cannot wait writing test case test plan until test like the deployment. No, we need to start the same time when the developer is starting. Okay. And steps to create the effect test plan is understand the project requirement clearly, and domain, this I didn't add it, domain knowledge properly, define scopes, identify testing approach, determine the resource requirements, create test schedule, define entry, identify risk, establish a defect management, define reporting, and getting stakeholders approval. So end of the day, your stakeholders is the end owner, right? So you should clearly share with them like what you are doing, what is your approach, what is your test case, how you're covering, how you're defect tracking on daily basis. Okay, and what are the common test plan pitfalls? Like don't turn those. Okay? Like what are the things means creating overly detailed plans quickly become outdated. Okay, because a change of requirements is happening every day or every week or every month, so we don't need to overlay. Okay, next one is ignoring resource constraints. What the problem means, if two resource is only there but the task is for five resource means don't include like this two people can do all five. No, it will impact your overall quality of the product in QA. At setting unrealistic timelines. What is the unrealistic timelines? When there is a 5 days is planned, okay, for testing, but the developer had delayed 2 days means you cannot make the resource in 3 days to complete the 5 days task. It is the unrealistic timeline. It will impact the quality. This all don't impact only quality. Okay, neglecting risk assessments. Okay, so like if the 2 days you properly mention that risk analysis, like if delay happens, how many delay is happening, that delay should impact change in the schedule of testing itself. If you not making that risk analysis properly, then you will end up in this only. Okay, and creating the plan isolation, like with your own experience without knowing it properly mean you creating a test plan, it will impact even though you have experience. If you don't have a proper knowledge in the current requirements, it will become a problem. Okay, what does it do is keep clean, flexible, adaptive. Flexible means based upon the schedule changes, requirement changes, you want to always flexible, adaptable, align resource with the testing needs. Okay, keep on pulling and like increasing and decreasing the resource properly. When the reducing the task means reduce the resource. When task increase the resource. Okay, you cannot keep a same team to for anything. Okay, so always going to be align the resources, setting realistic achievable timings. Like this task is a high priority task means you want to give a proper timing. If it's a low priority task or it's just a UI change means you don't need to worry much. Okay, and prioritize based on risk, which is the high priority and faster release that you want to make first real release, and anything is minor one you keep it for later. Always collaborate with them. Why we using collaborative means you are not the owner, you don't have any approach what is the vision until you not connect with your top management stakeholders. When you are close to QA, always should close with the stakeholders, because then only you see the vision of the company, what is our next approach. Because nowadays the competition is bigger in each company is running for higher stakes. Okay, the survival most of the companies. So you should support the QA, always want to support the company point of view, stakeholders point of view. Don't think you alone. You want to have a good knowledge on the application or what is the next approach the entire company going to be move on. Okay, or migration is going to happen. Okay, and next one is conclusion. Like overall, no. So effective test plan is clear and concise. Like even the newcomers able to understand. Comprehensive yet flexible. There is no constant. You should always comprehensive yet flexible. Align with the project goals. Always settles you are the owner. Think like that way and think of what's the next vision of the company. Focus on risk mitigation. Always focus on what are the risk will come. Okay, risk always come. Okay, suppose they provide a product, but the product is shitty. You're not even able to test. Then your entire risk is your entire schedule is waste. You want to retest everything. Collaborative nature, like always open to speak with the developers, stakeholders, masters. If there is no ego, you are just tester. You just say like this is working, not working, that's it. If you have proper knowledge, remember the goal is quality of software, not perfect. See this, that's what I did right previously. The goal is quality, that's the matter. In the end, go to the user feels happy, your product will success. Okay, even that is a very small app also, if the quality is not good, even the bigger or smaller, the app never sustain. Okay, adapt to your approach based on project context and team needs. Always change, ready for change. So if you have any questions on test plan creations or like anything deeper, put in the comment. I always try to reply. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.